This week in Boomtown, turning empty office space into new homes. We're taking a deeper look at the efforts to meet the growing demand for housing in Central Ohio. Plus, creating a path to home ownership in Franklinton.
And it's not just about affordable rents. They're going to own these units.
How this West Columbus project is guiding other affordable housing developments. And cleaning up Columbus one section at a time. But is it enough? This week, we're looking at the impact along Parsons Avenue and what is next for 3 more neighborhoods. Central Ohio is certainly booming. And this week, we learned of a nearly $1 billion expansion happening in New Albany. At the same time, Intel announced yet another delay. Leaders in this region will have to figure out how to maneuver all these changes while embracing nearly 1 million more people in the coming decades. So here's what we uncovered this week in Boomtown. Delayed until possibly 2031. That is now when Intel says its Licking County chip plant will become complete. News of this delay comes the same week Intel reported plans to lay off 20% of its workforce, leaving many people to question the future of the project. And with millions of dollars of investments on the line in just a bit, we'll dive deeper into how some neighbors are now feeling a bit uncertain about the future of Intel. Columbus's newest mixed-use development comes with a new urban vibe. Just look at this: apartments, rooftop lounges, a dog park, and a great view of Major League Soccer. The Haslam Sports Group, part owners of the Columbus Crew, broke ground this week on Astor Park. It's a $50 million project and is right across from Lower.com Field. They are partnering with the Pizzuti companies on what will soon open in 2027. Thanks so much for joining us on This Week in Boomtown. I'm Angela Ann. We do have a lot to get to in this week's episode, so let's start with some more headlines. Remember when demolition crews took down the old spaghetti warehouse back in February? Well, check this out. The iconic trolley was saved, and now developers say they plan to turn the West Broad Street site into housing and retail. These renderings show us how that vacant land is now starting to take shape. Well, we know the Ohio State Fairgrounds is undergoing a multi-million-dollar renovation, and this week, the state announced more money will be invested to improve safety and guest experience. As early as this summer, fairgoers will see metal detectors, shuttles, new fencing, and even a breastfeeding pod for nursing moms. It's all part of making the fair more family-friendly and accessible. And more people, more electricity, more pull from our power grid. If AEP mailed you about a higher electric bill, you are not the only one. Starting in June, most AEP Ohio customers will pay about $27 more a month, but there is a way to save and earn. AEP's Power Rewards program gives you a $50 gift card just for signing up. AEP can then adjust the temperatures during peak hours for anyone with a smart thermostat, and this will help reduce demand while saving you some money. Lieutenant Governor Jim Tressel is speaking this week at a major announcement in New Albany. Amgen, a global biomedical manufacturer, says it is committed to Central Ohio and now investing nearly $1 billion into expanding its already booming business. Lieutenant Governor Tressel says companies like Amgen are a critical part of developing Ohio's workforce playbook. The goal is to retain existing workers while recruiting new talent to the Buckeye State. Now, Amgen first entered Ohio in 2021 with a state-of-the-art facility in New Albany. This week's announcement will also bring hundreds more jobs. So we wanted to know why Amgen decided to expand in Central Ohio during such a volatile time. 10 TV's Doug Petcash sat down with one of their executives to learn more.
Cranes stretch into the sky and excavators move dirt on the ground. Amgen's manufacturing facility expansion is taking shape in New Albany.
It's a dream come true.
Amgen Vice President of Site Operations, Sandra Rodriguez Toledo, says the expansion is happening in record time. Production at the original facility here just started in February of 2024, and they plan to bring the expansion online in 2027.
When we started with an idea, and the idea was to have the most advanced assembly operation in terms of automation, having artificial intelligence.
How important is this for the company to be able to do this expansion?
It is extremely important because we have a global operation, and this is part of our strategy to ensure supply to our patients.
Nearly 400 workers at this facility assemble, label, and package medicines for illnesses including cancer, heart disease, osteoporosis, and other rare diseases. Another 350 workers will join them when the expansion is complete. What do you think about the workforce in Central Ohio?
It is an extraordinary workforce, and we have been able to succeed. 80% of my total employees are from Central Ohio.
The Amgen expansion comes at a time when Intel has announced another delay for its Licking County memory chip plant, now expected to be operational in 2031. And Microsoft is pushing back its $1 billion investment plan to build 3 data centers also in Licking County. Why is Amgen able to expand when we see other companies, holding off a bit?
Because it's a different industry. We are supplying medicines, and people need medicines.
Well, not too far from Amgen is the Intel site, which this week dealt with another blow. Just ahead on This Week in Boomtown, reaction to news that the chip-making plant plans to cut 20% of its workforce, and how state leaders are now reacting. Well, a lot happened this week when it comes to housing. So let's start in Hilliard. That is where the Central Ohio Community Land Trust announced it's building its first home in that city. The house will sell for just under $200,000.
It does allow people to feel like they are part of the community. If their desire is to live that American dream, is their desire to be part of a community by owning a home and being able to go home and go to a place to say, this is mine.
Well, this 1,400 square foot home on Bryant Street in Hilliard will now be available for people who usually wouldn't have the chance to buy a home. The Land Trust has built 138 homes all across Franklin County since inception, primarily for families with an average annual income of $50,000 or less. And that's what we are seeing now in Franklinton, just west of downtown Columbus. This week, the Land Trust cut the ribbon on 19 new condos there. And again, the best part, every condo will cost less than $200,000 in prime real estate territory. 10 TV's Tara Jabor went to that ribbon cutting and tells us why leaders say this project is far more than just getting to own a home.
19 brand new condos are officially done in Franklinton.
It's really important that we continue to provide opportunities for those folks who wouldn't have an opportunity to buy a home anyway.
Williams says the project is not just about building a home, but building an affordable future for the community. Every condo is 2 to 3 bedrooms and will cost between $185,000 and $199,000.
We're creating more opportunity so that residents from every walk of life and every income level can live in the neighborhood of their choice.
The project is in part paid for through the 2022 Affordable Housing Bond. Erica Crawley, president of the Franklin County Board of Commissioners, says too many people in Franklin County cannot afford a home. She says they want to change that.
Building stronger communities, creating more equitable opportunities, and shaping a future where more families have the stability and security that comes with home ownership.
Cheryl Brooks Sullivan, treasurer of Franklin County, says when more people can afford a home, other good things fall into place.
Kids thrive in school, health outcomes improve, and neighborhoods grow stronger and more connected.
The city and county hope to continue to work together to build projects like these 19 condos. The mayor says there's a lot more work to do in making sure everyone can afford a home.
Everybody that works in this community should be able to afford to live here too, regardless of what they do for a living.
Tara, thank you. Now we're also seeing housing changes for Whitehall. This week, City Council approved plans for new townhomes right off Fairway Boulevard. And this is the first development there in over 25 years. Despite critics who opposed the 45-year tax abatement incentive, city leaders say this development is a major step forward, bringing fresh housing options. Whitehall needs to keep up with the growth. Now, even with these housing resources, Ohio lawmakers are trying to solve the affordable housing crisis. This week, the Ohio Housing Council held its spring symposium at the State House. And the focus here really is tackling the most urgent challenges and the opportunities for affordable housing at the state and federal level. The Housing Council says one of its biggest priorities is really bringing back the Ohio Housing Trust Fund.
In the budget this year, the House has effectively defunded the Ohio Housing Trust Fund, and this money is critically important to filling gaps in the capital stack to build affordable housing projects throughout the state, particularly in rural communities.
The Housing Council is also focusing on the future of tax credit programs that support affordable housing throughout the state. Well, sometimes it's not about building new housing, it's finding it in a space that's already there. If you've driven through downtown Columbus lately, you have probably noticed plenty of empty office space. Some leaders say that unused space could actually be part of the bigger solution to solving our housing crisis.
It's easy to turn them into condos when they're $450 to $1.5 million, but it's really hard to do it when it's, for somebody that's trying to get into an affordable housing.
So just last week, Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther proposed a $500 million bond package for housing that voters will eventually decide on in November. Now, in the middle of all of this, the Chase Tower in downtown Columbus sold to a California investor for just under $5 million. The new owner of this 25-story building says he's planning to pour millions more into upgrades. Right now, only 30% of that tower is occupied, but the new owner wants to keep it all office space, scrapping some earlier plans to turn it into apartments. Well, city leaders say big changes are happening in Columbus's Hilltop neighborhood. That optimism is backed by years of planning beginning back in 2020. Millions of dollars in investment aimed at transforming the west side. So far, updates along Sullivan Avenue include new streetlights, traffic signals, and signage. And leaders say it's already making a difference. Mayor Ginther says the city has already invested $180 million in the Hilltop, and more is on the way. One major upgrade, a bus rapid transit line, soon to run right along West Broad Street.
Because the best days of the Hilltop are still ahead of us.
It's our promise to this community that we will continue to stand beside the people that have never stopped fighting for this neighborhood.
Mayor Ginther says as they work on finalizing the capital budget, people who live here can expect additional investments into the Hilltop neighborhood. Now, back in early April, we told you about a new city project that would make investments in cleaning up some of those major corridors that run right through the capital city. It's called the Clean and Safe Corridors Initiative. That work started on Parsons Avenue, where the city completed 2 weeks of intensive improvements. Well, this week, 10 TV's Carla Rogner went back to Parsons Avenue to see what neighbors think about this progress and how this revitalization is truly a critical step to bringing back boom to the inner city.
The general consensus from residents and business owners we spoke to along Parsons Avenue is that this area looks nicer and cleaner, but they say it's going to take more than 2 weeks of work to make long-lasting improvements. For 2 weeks, the city fixed potholes, planted trees, and cleaned up Parsons Avenue. Police issued arrest warrants, and the city handed out citations to people violating parking laws and building codes. It's the first street the city tackled with the Clean and Safe Corridors Initiative, which Mayor Ginther says will eventually be a $1 billion effort. The people who live and work here say they're happy with the progress and hope it's a sign that the city will listen to them about the work they feel still must be done on the south side.
Hopefully, what our hopes are is that once we get it cleaned up, that people that own homes, they will clean up their own yards. And then we hope it reaches to the younger people and they say, oh, they taking care of this stuff out here. Maybe it'll cut down on some of the crime.
Carla, thank you so much. Now, check out some beautiful new murals that we found just on the south side along Parsons Avenue, gracing the side of a building. You can see the vibrant colors here, making this area really aesthetically pleasing. The artist tells us the inspiration was sowing seeds based on a parable about having the faith of a mustard seed and being able to move mountains.
I just really hit it off with Columbus Relief. They're doing things the right way. They're givers, and they're doing it with a smile and seeing people where they are.
I love that, seeing people where they are. The art was made possible through a grant from the Greater Columbus Arts Council. Creating more public art is really one piece of the boomtown puzzle that leaders say will help make Columbus feel more welcoming to new folks as they move in. All right, let's talk about jobs. This week, shipping company Uline expanded its presence in Ohio with a new 1.4 million square foot warehouse set to open in Etna this June. The company held a job fair this week and already hiring. The company is offering full benefits from day one and a $5,000 bonus at the end of the year. The company is located right there on Global Way Southwest. Again, this is in Etna. And the first phase of Anderville's massive job hiring is now underway. The weapons manufacturer is building the first hyperscale manufacturing facility called Arsenal One. This is the largest single job creator in Ohio history, with 4,000 jobs to fill in Pickaway County. Right now, Anderville is hiring technicians, engineers, and production managers. But the news is not so rosy for Intel. This week, we heard from the company's new CEO about the latest delay to its chip-making plant in Licking County. Lip Bhutan commented on what he called flattening the organization. And he said in part, quote, "There is no way around the fact that these critical changes will reduce the size of our workforce. As I said when I joined, we need to make some very hard decisions to put our company on a solid footing for the future," end quote. 10 TV's Colin Dorsey went to Licking County and learned these changes aren't the worst thing to happen right now for some people in that area.
When Intel first announced this project, it said the plant would be open by this year. Then the delays started. It became 2027, 2028, and the latest update, now 2031. It seems like the project is getting farther and farther away. Even with the delays, the cranes tower over the site, working away at a plan that people are waiting to see if it will happen or not.
It's not really a matter of I think if it's going to happen, it's a matter of when.
Those same cranes are just on the horizon from Johnstown Monroe Local Schools, a reminder that change is coming.
We're adding a 150 student addition on the back of the high school.
Superintendent Philip Wagner has been keeping a close eye on the progress of the project. The district is shaping its future around what's expected to come, potentially tripling the number of students. The district is adding on, crunching the numbers, and getting ready to train the next generation of the workforce. He's still optimistic about what's on the horizon.
Build 2 more buildings, reconfigure all that, have it all organized, and we feel like we're ready to go.
Some people are finally throwing up their hands and thinking it's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you have that concern?
From those I work with at multiple levels, I still believe there's going to be growth.
For him, the delays are a gift, allowing the district to be more strategic about its planning. In downtown Johnstown, the frequent truck traffic is a reminder of what's going on just miles away.
There's already too much traffic, as you can see.
And not everyone is happy about the potential future. With more delays, news of layoffs, do you think Intel's ever going to happen?
I hope it doesn't happen.
Why don't you hope it happens?
Because I like Johnstown's small, safe feeling, and I don't want more people here.
Well, here in Johnstown, people's opinions and thoughts on the future of the Intel project are mixed. For the company's shareholders, they're getting some insight right now into what that looks like. In Johnstown, Colin Dorsey, 10 TV News.
Colin, thank you. You can read the full statement from the Intel CEO about all these changes on 10tv.com. Just click on this story on the main page of our website. Now, Intel says these changes will happen in the coming months. So we reached out to the governor's office. Governor Mike DeWine's office told us that they have not received any indication that this will affect Intel's Ohio project.
Those basic principles, that is who I am. And I believe that is deeply where our country and community need to keep going.
So you are hearing there from Jason Hall, the new president and CEO of the Columbus Partnership. This week, he spoke at the Columbus Metropolitan Club luncheon about his experience prior to moving here and how he helped St. Louis become a top 5 job growth market.
I'm not going to forget where I came from, and I'm not going to forget to pay it forward. And I think it has fundamentally shaped my view on leadership, particular leadership around an economy, which I think is the defining issue in this country right now, at the source of so many issues we need to resolve, that I would work to make sure barriers are reduced, tables are bigger, conversation is real, and we're going to bring people together in common cause and common purpose to make a more perfect country or community.
Now, the Columbus Partnership is a nonprofit that looks at economic development and also innovation for the region. It's made up of leading businesses and institutions that help Columbus continue its path to success. If you have a Boomtown-related question or concern about the rapid growth, let us know. See that number on your screen? Just text us 614-460-3345. And if you're watching us on YouTube right now, you can always drop your question in the comment section. And just make sure you like, comment, and subscribe as well. Well, it has been wonderful having you join me here on this growing journey for our community. I'm Angela Ann. Thanks so much for watching This Week in Boomtown.